Your brain is dying right now. Not from disease. Not from age. From habits you repeat every single day without even realizing it. While you scroll through your phone at 3 in the morning, while you skip breakfast again, while you tell yourself that sleep can wait, your brain cells are literally shrinking. Neural connections are breaking down. Your memory is fading. And the worst part? You think these habits are harmless. You think everyone does them. You think you'll change tomorrow. But here's the brutal truth. Every day you wait, the damage gets worse. And some of it becomes permanent. Think about the last time you felt truly sharp. When ideas flowed effortlessly. When you could focus for hours without distraction. When your memory actually worked. For most people, that feeling is becoming a distant memory. Not because they're getting older, but because they're unknowingly destroying their brain with habits that feel normal, even necessary in our modern world. Your brain is the most sophisticated piece of machinery in the known universe, containing roughly 86 billion neurons, each making thousands of connections. It controls everything you are, everything you think, everything you'll ever become. Yet most of us treat it worse than we treat our cars. If you care about your mental performance, your memory, your ability to think clearly and create the life you want, then hit that subscribe button right now. Tap the like button so more people can discover this critical information. And turn on notifications because what you're about to learn could literally save your cognitive future. The science behind these 7 habits is clear, the damage is real, and the time to act is now. We live in an age of unprecedented cognitive decline among young people. Something that neurologists have never seen before in human history. 20-somethings with the memory of 60-year-olds. Teenagers who can't focus for more than 8 seconds. Adults in their prime experiencing brain fog so severe they can barely function. This isn't normal aging. This isn't genetics. This is environmental. This is behavioral. And that means you can change it. But first, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your skull. The first habit destroying your brain is chronic sleep deprivation, and it's far more dangerous than you imagine. When you sleep, your brain doesn't just rest. It activates a cleaning system called the glymphatic system that literally washes away toxic proteins that accumulate during the day. These proteins, including beta amyloid, are the same ones that build up in Alzheimer's disease. When you consistently sleep less than 7 hours, this cleaning system doesn't have enough time to do its job. The toxins accumulate, day after day, week after week, year after year. Studies using brain imaging have shown that people who regularly sleep less than 6 hours per night have significantly smaller brain volume in regions responsible for memory and decision-making. Your brain is physically shrinking, but it gets worse. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates memories, moving them from short-term to long-term storage. Skip this process repeatedly, and those memories simply disappear. They never get saved. Think of all the experiences, all the learning, all the moments just vanishing because you thought that extra episode or that late-night scroll was worth it. Jim Kwik, one of the world's leading brain coaches, often says that sleep is not negotiable for brain health. Your brain needs 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep to function optimally. Not 5, not 6, 7 to 9, every single night. Without exception. The modern glorification of sleep deprivation, the hustle culture that treats rest as weakness, is literally creating a generation with damaged brains. The second habit is consuming ultra-processed foods that spike your blood sugar and starve your brain of real nutrition. Your brain uses 20% of your body's total energy, despite being only 2% of your body weight. It's an incredibly energy-hungry organ, and it needs specific nutrients to function. But when you eat processed foods loaded with refined sugars and unhealthy fats, you're not feeding your brain. You're poisoning it. High blood sugar levels cause inflammation in the brain, damage blood vessels, and impair the formation of new neural connections. Research has shown that diets high in processed foods are directly linked to smaller hippocampus volume. The hippocampus is your memory center. When it shrinks, your ability to form new memories and recall old ones deteriorates. Even more concerning, these foods create a vicious cycle. Sugar activates the same reward pathways in your brain as addictive drugs. You get a temporary high followed by a crash that leaves you craving more. Your energy plummets. Your focus vanishes. Your mood destabilizes. and your brain becomes dependent on these quick fixes rather than functioning on stable, sustained energy from real food. Meanwhile, your brain is desperately trying to build and maintain billions of neural connections using the building blocks you provide through food. When all you provide is sugar, refined flour, and industrial oils, your brain simply cannot do its job. The neurons become weak. The protective myelin sheath that insulates nerve fibers degrades. Communication between brain regions slows down. You become a dimmer version of yourself, and you don't even realize why. The third habit is living in a constant state of chronic stress without any recovery periods. Stress itself isn't the problem. Acute stress can actually enhance cognitive function temporarily. The problem is when stress becomes chronic and unrelenting. When you never truly relax. When your mind is always racing. When you're constantly worried about deadlines, finances, relationships, or just the general chaos of modern life. Chronic stress floods your brain with cortisol, a hormone that in high levels becomes neurotoxic. It literally kills brain cells, particularly in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. These are the exact regions responsible for memory, learning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Multiple studies have demonstrated that people under chronic stress show measurable brain shrinkage in these critical areas. Your brain is physically smaller because you can't manage stress. But the damage doesn't stop there. Chronic stress also impairs neurogenesis, which is your brain's ability to create new neurons. Scientists used to believe that you were born with all the brain cells you'd ever have, but we now know the brain continues producing new neurons throughout life, particularly in areas related to learning and memory. Stress shuts down this process. No new neurons, no brain growth, just deterioration. And here's what makes this so insidious. Chronic stress also disrupts sleep, increases inflammation, and drives you toward unhealthy coping mechanisms like emotional eating, excessive alcohol consumption, or mindless screen time. It's a cascade of brain damage, each element reinforcing the others. The fourth habit is physical inactivity and sedentary living. Your brain evolved for movement. For tens of thousands of years, humans walked miles every day, climbed, ran, and engaged in constant physical activity. Your brain developed in this context, and it still requires movement to function properly. When you sit for hours on end, day after day, your brain suffers in ways that are difficult to overstate. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients essential for neural health. It stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which scientists call miracle grow for the brain, because it promotes the growth of new neurons and strengthens existing ones. Without regular exercise, your BDNF levels plummet. Your brain stops growing. Neural connections weaken. Cognitive decline accelerates. Research comparing brain scans of active versus sedentary individuals shows dramatic differences. Active people have larger, healthier brains with better connectivity. Sedentary people show accelerated brain aging, reduced cognitive performance, and higher risk of dementia. One study found that each hour of sedentary time per day increased dementia risk by 10%. 10% per hour. If you're sitting for 8 hours a day, you're dramatically increasing your risk of cognitive decline. And this isn't just about old age. Young people who are sedentary show measurably worse cognitive performance than their active peers. Worse memory, slower processing speed, reduced creativity. Your brain needs movement not just to stay healthy, but to function at all. The fifth habit is chronic social isolation and lack of meaningful human connection. Humans are inherently social creatures. Your brain has dedicated regions specifically for processing social information, understanding other people's emotions, and maintaining relationships. These neural networks need to be used, or they atrophy, just like in used muscles. Loneliness and social isolation have been shown to be as damaging to the brain as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. People who lack social connections show faster cognitive decline, higher rates of depression and anxiety, and significantly increased risk of dementia. The mechanism is fascinating and tragic. Social interaction requires your brain to perform incredibly complex tasks. You must read facial expressions, interpret tone of voice, predict others' intentions, regulate your own emotions, and constantly update your understanding of social dynamics. This cognitive workout keeps your brain sharp. When you isolate yourself, whether by choice or circumstance, you lose this stimulation. The neural networks responsible for social cognition begin to deteriorate. Your ability to empathize declines. Your emotional regulation weakens. Even your immune system suffers because loneliness triggers chronic inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. And in our modern world of digital communication, we've created an illusion of connection that doesn't provide the same benefits. Scrolling through social media, texting, even video calls don't activate your brain the same way in-person interaction does. You can have 1,000 online friends and still experience the brain damage of loneliness. Your brain knows the difference between real connection and digital simulation. The sixth habit is constant multitasking and digital distraction that fragments your attention and prevents deep focus. Your brain cannot actually multitask in the way you think it can. What you call multitasking is really rapid task switching, and every switch comes with a cognitive cost. Studies show that it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain focus after a distraction. Think about that. Every time you check your phone, every time you switch tabs, every time you respond to a notification, you're not just losing a few seconds. You're potentially losing 23 minutes of productive mental work. The constant switching prevents your brain from ever entering the deep focus state necessary for learning, creativity, and complex problem solving. But the damage goes deeper. Chronic distraction actually rewires your brain. The neural pathways for sustained attention weaken from disuse, while the circuits for distraction and novelty-seeking strengthen. You're literally training your brain to be unable to focus. This shows up in brain scans as reduced gray matter in the prefrontal cortex and decreased connectivity in networks responsible for attention control. People who constantly multitask become progressively worse at filtering out irrelevant information, worse at maintaining information in working memory, and worse at switching between tasks. The very thing they think they're good at, they've actually become terrible at. Your attention span shrinks. Your ability to think deeply evaporates. Your memory becomes unreliable because you were never fully present to encode memories in the first place. Jim Quick emphasizes that focus is the gateway to learning and memory. Without the ability to focus deeply, your brain cannot effectively process information, make connections, or store knowledge. Every distraction is a missed opportunity for growth. The seventh habit is neglecting continuous learning and mental challenges. Your brain follows a simple principle: use it or lose it. Neural connections that aren't regularly activated become weaker and eventually disappear through a process called synaptic pruning. This is actually a good thing when it eliminates unnecessary connections, but it becomes devastating when you stop challenging yourself mentally. When you fall into repetitive routines, when you stop learning new things, when you avoid mental challenges, your brain begins to atrophy. The networks you don't use fade away. Your cognitive reserve, which is your brain's ability to compensate for damage and maintain function, diminishes. People who continue learning throughout life maintain significantly better cognitive function in old age and show much lower rates of dementia. The act of learning, of struggling with new concepts, of practicing new skills, forces your brain to create new neural pathways and strengthen existing ones. It doesn't matter what you learn. A new language, a musical instrument, a complex hobby, advanced mathematics, philosophy, anything that genuinely challenges your brain. The struggle itself is the point. When something is difficult, when you have to concentrate and push through confusion, your brain releases growth factors and builds new connections. But when everything becomes easy and routine, growth stops. Many people reach their 20s or 30s and essentially stop learning anything genuinely new. They coast on existing knowledge and established skills. They avoid the discomfort of being a beginner. They stay in their comfort zone, and their brain, sensing that growth is no longer required, begins the long process of decline. These 7 habits work together in a devastating synergy. Poor sleep makes you crave processed foods. Stress drives you to isolation. Sedentary living increases stress. Digital distraction prevents the focus needed for learning. Each habit makes the others worse. And day by day, choice by choice, your brain pays the price. But here's the critical insight that changes everything. The same neuroplasticity that allows these habits to damage your brain also allows you to reverse much of the damage. Your brain has an extraordinary ability to heal, to grow new connections, to compensate for past damage. People who change these habits, even after years of cognitive decline, show remarkable improvements in memory, focus, mental clarity, and overall brain health. It's never too late to start protecting your brain, but it requires awareness. It requires commitment. It requires you to make different choices starting right now. The research is absolutely clear on this. Your daily habits are either building a stronger, more resilient brain or slowly destroying the most important organ in your body. There is no neutral. Every choice matters. Every day counts. The question isn't whether these habits will affect you. The question is whether you'll make the changes necessary to protect your cognitive future before the damage becomes irreversible. If this information opened your eyes to habits you need to change, show your commitment by subscribing to this channel and hitting that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Your brain is your most valuable asset. Everything you experience, everything you accomplish, every relationship you build, every dream you pursue, it all depends on your brain functioning at its best. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your brain. Treat it like the miracle it is.